What we gonna do right now is go back, way back. Give me your thing. Hey, 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 more. Come on, shake, come on. Give me your thing. Hey, 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 more. Big girls like Doodle Brown. Fat girls like Doodle Brown. Fat girls, let me see you grind. Fat girls just doing their own thing right there with the fat thing. Fat girls just shaking them thighs. Fat girls don't make it count.
Excuse me.
Baby.
What's up? I thought you was gonna start hanging out with the big girls again. What is all this trash?
But like that girl, hit the ground, hit it up, and you hear that sound. Fat girl just looking so sweet. Fat girl don't make it easy. Fat girl just shake it, don't speak. Big girl, let me see you do a spin. Let go, let me see you touch the ground. Shake it up, back down. Drop me in the house. Rock it out, work it, work it, work it, work it, big girl, 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 like you around. Fat girl, keep going, don't quit. Fat girl, just move the damn hip. Fat girl, get down, don't stop. Fat girl, wanna see the pop. Shake it, stop, fat girl, shake it fast. Fat girl, nigga, wanna see that? Fat girl, bounce like a pro. Fat girl, go, go, what you know? Fat girl, shake, till you rip through what? On the web, wet, hard part two. Looks in the house, y'all know the game. Fat girl, don't have no shame. Shake that ass, bounce to the beat. Fat girl, shake it, jiggle like me. St. Louis, back to the top. Like I like to do the ride. Work it, work it, work it, big girl, 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 like do the ride. Hey, 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 more hey. Let me hear you say, hey, 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 more hey. Big girls like Doodle Brown. Shake, work, work, shake, work, shake, work, shake, work, shake, shake, work, shake, shake, work, shake, work, shake, work, shake. To the ground, to the ground, to the ground, to the ground.
I'm sick of this. Now I want to show y'all a real show with the big girls.
Oh, fat girl, part 3. Can't hang with 100% beat. Fat girl, know to happen, no quit. Fat girl, run like you own it. Put your hands on your hips and grip it. Nothing new, I'm loose like it off the net. Fat girl, bring through the top of the ground. If not, I'ma pull the panties down. Fat girl, bounce hot, stop tripping. If you do, get chicken and hot fish. With a lot right, come to the nice tea. I really shit, get the day in the wear tea. But fat girl, show the boy shot. Let me see if the fat or not. Don't put fat girl, y'all like the down. Let you out, let me see y'all do the rap.
I'm serious. Where you are, not Elvira. Oh, not the Britney Spears. Hey, how you doing? Oh, but ain't the little leprechaun. Girl, your beat is so up. You look a mess. All about the big girls. What about the big girls?
Big girl, work it, work it, work. Big girl, work it, work it, work. Big girl, you done suck all the fat off your ass. Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of The Luke Show. Yo, the Uncle Luke Podcast, brought to you by yours truly, Uncle Luke. We don't have any sponsors. We just do it on our own because we're able to give you the best and the brightest of all the information. I like with my head pointed to the other side. You know, that's that OG in me. That's that OG in me. You don't normally see OGs like on podcasts like this. But again, I like to welcome you guys. I know I've not been here for a couple days, maybe about a week, because I've been just entrenched with so much going on in my life. Thank God that I'm here. I always keep pinching myself to remind that I'm here. I've been,
I've been busy. It's spring football time. You know, we got high school football over at Miami Edison where I coach at. So you add that on to my son's schedule, and then you add that on to my schedule. Then you add that. There's no excuses. There are no excuses. What's up, Brown? There's no excuses why I should not be here. But I am here. God willing. I need to find more time to do my podcasts because people love the podcast. Hey, Glow, how you doing? And I have to be here for you all because I have to give you all the information that you may not be getting from other places because these other places, they're very interested when they try and give you guys the information that you think you're getting, but you're not necessarily getting. That's a whole nother story. That is definitely a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? But again, I am happy you guys are here. Here. As you can see, I got all kind of control issues going on. But listen, man, before I start the show off, I always like to tell you all, get in the chat, let me know where you're from, because that's what I want to know. Where you from? If you're from Houston, if you're from Arkansas, if you're from Maryland, if you're from Carolinas, put in the chat where you're from so I can then know exactly who I'm talking to, and then I can post you up here. But it's been a lot of things going on. It has been a lot of things going on, man. Shouts out to the people who gave me a street signing. I mean, I'm still trying to. I'm still really processing it all because I really have not had a moment where I can sit down and think about what the hell happened. You know, because it just happened so fast. Me getting a street named after myself, you know, it went really, really fast. And I'm here to tell you guys, I'm still overwhelmed by it. I'm humbled by it. I'm humbled by everything that went on in that entire process. So, you know, people come to me and ask like, yo, how you feel about having a street named after you? And I'm like, man, I'm still like really trying to process the whole thing. I guess because things have been happening so fast and my life is always so busy and there's so many things going on that I've not gotten to the opportunity where I could just sit down and like, whoa, I got a street named after me. What the hell? How did that happen? When did that happen? My God. So it is still amazing. I think one of my friends told me, they say, man, you might need to go back to the block and just take it all in by yourself, which is something I think I'm going to go do. I mean, listen. It was a whirlwind of emotion. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. I mean, part of me, I stayed home like the whole week. I didn't go out because I know that most people get a street named after them, they're dead. And I'm like, I don't want to die. And you know, shit happens. You go right down the street, some shit happens. People like, yo, you need to come to Atlanta because we got to do some work. I'm like, no, I'm not getting on the plane right now because I need to be here for this. Because these things don't happen that often. You don't get a street named after you that often in your living. Then the ladies, shouts out to Gail and everybody in the mayor's office, then they sent this flyer out that looked like an obituary, and people were calling me to find out if I was dead or not. But, you know, hey, look, I love the girls over there. They did what they had to do. I ain't got no complaints. But everybody was like, yo, this flyer looks like an obituary. They got you looking like you dead. I'm like, yeah, but leave them alone. I mean, these girls are working hard. They're doing the best that they could do. I mean, just the mere fact that they could think about me in this manner in the mirror, thinking about me in this manner to make this thing happen. I'm fucking humble and grateful. So y'all shut the fuck up. I am living. So on top of the obituary, and then you not knowing whether you're dead or not because they're giving you a street, I had to stay the fuck home. I was like nerved the fuck out the whole damn week. Like, yo, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna go where I gotta go at, and then bring my ass back home because I want to be living for this shit. I want to be living for it. But you know, hey, thank God we made it. We made it. I mean, and this is the first time that I'm speaking on this. I got there. Let me just take you all through it. And I just saw all these people. I'm like, shit. You know, I invited some people, and then I got to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm going to fuck up. And I'm going to not invite somebody. It's going to be a fuck up somewhere here. And I just went on social media like, everybody is invited. You all come. Enjoy yourself. Everybody come. I know I'm going to fuck up. I know I'm not going to miss somebody because I don't want to hear nobody saying, oh, you didn't invite me. Luke, you didn't invite me. That's effed up, and that's why I didn't show up. So I just got on there, and I invited everybody. And I still had people say, you didn't invite me. Well, goddamn it, if you needed a personal invite, you should be following me on some social media. I am on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. Everywhere. And if somebody posts some bad shit about me, you all will be first ones repeating the shit or reposting it. So shut the fuck up. You just missed the event. But I'm just saying, man, it's a blessing. Just like you say, Don, it's a blessing. It is a absolute blessing. And then I get there, like I say, I got there, saw all these people. I'm like, DJ Khaled, E-Class, Mike Gardner, Shane, your wife, the fucking judge, Reggie, Oliver, Keon, the mayor, Andy Slater, a white guy, my niece, and my nieces and nephews, and it's like Warren Sapp, Ricky Jackson, Nat Moore. I mean, like Hall of Fame people. Gil Green, arguably the biggest fucking music video producer ever, to come out of Miami. And I mean, I'm like sitting there looking at all these people, Stan the Man, you know, people, black people I hang out with. I mean, Scarface, fucking Scarface. And I mean, it's like I'm blown away. You know, there's a bunch of people. I mean, Disco Rick, he's there. I'm looking at, I mean, Larry Dog, Razor, Ron May, Dwight Jackson, Yolanda, the people from my board, and the kids, and Devontae Freeman, Darrell Estridge, Deuce, all the kids who I coached and shit, and some of the kids on my current team, Larry and all. I'm like sitting there like, I'm all fucked up right now. And there's a ton of people I didn't mention just now. Teach. I mean, it's like you're sitting there like, I got my speech, right? I got my speech right here, all nice and written out. I'm going to go up there so eloquently, and I'm going to say this speech. And people are having speeches before me. It's like they're saying things about me. My son is sitting there, and I'm like, fuck. You know, it's like, so I'm like, the damn speech went in the garbage. I'm telling you, the speech went in the garbage because the politicians, they start talking, and it's like, what the fuck? And people honoring you like, yo, are you dead? I'm still saying, are you fucking dead? Because it's like a funeral. And then one girl gets up there. It wasn't a funeral. It was a celebration, because funerals are a celebration of life, which I'm telling you, more people should give people their flowers while they're living and not while they're dead, so they can appreciate it. Like me, I fucking appreciate every moment of it. You know, and then the one lady from the commissioner's office, because the commissioner couldn't be there, she had to go to her daughter's graduation, a niece, something like that. And the lady said, my condolences to, and she was like, oh, and then the people in the crowd was like, oh, and I was like, oh shit, I am fucking dead. Oh my God. And then somebody was like, oh no, he's not dead. It was like, that at that moment, I was, you don't know when you're fucking going to be dead. But at that moment, I thought I was out of there. And they were really fucking having a celebration without me. When that lady said my condolence goes to, I'm like, oh, fuck, right? Listen. Then we got past that. Now I know I'm not dead because the people was like, no, he's not dead. Now, thank you, Jesus. They said behind me, I'm not dead. I'm really here in the living. And I got up there, man. Listen, man, Scarface, I love you. My brother, I love you so fucking much, bro. I mean, the words that he had to say up on stage was freaking amazing. Because you never know when the impression that you have on people's life. When me and him chop it up, he's like, look, man, I wasn't even in the business. I was 16 years old doing some other shit, just watching you and how you moved and the things that you went to court for us. You fought for us. To be able, for me to be able to say the shit that I say on record, and for me to be able to say, be me, is no question about it. I was not going to miss this under no circumstances. And when this man said this, I mean, that just, it fucked me all up. I'm going to keep it real. I don't know how I kept this shit together the whole time, but, I'm sitting there, the mayor, he sits up there and he talks about him being 13 years old and his dad leaving him with me. And I remember it like it was yesterday at the Heat basketball game. And I'm mentoring this little young guy. That's why nobody could say shit about Francis Suarez. I love him to death. That's like my nephew. I'm a fucking uncle, which is I'm an uncle to a whole lot of people. And so I'm sitting there like overwhelmed by the shit that I'm hearing from these guys. I'm listening to Reggie get up there and say, man, he's a big politician, big commissioner in Miami Gardens. I was a fucking young guy, and y'all hear him speech, and I was an intern, and I worked for Luke. Yeah, Oliver Gilbert get up there, Dorothy Benjars Mendigal, all these people, who I obviously was an influence in their life, Big Teach and all of them, and my nephew, he's colorful. He's always colorful, gets up there and he says some beautiful words that I forgot, but I couldn't say because I'm just humbled by this whole moment, and I just totally forgot my whole speech. And I'm sitting there like, God damn, so it was a moment, and then you shaking hands and kissing babies, and oh man, thank you for being here, and thank you for being here, and the best moment of it all was my son being able to sit there and listen to people talk about my history, what I meant to the community, what I meant to hip hop from all different generations, all different walks of life. Because you never sit there and tell your kids, oh, daddy was this, daddy was that, daddy did this, daddy did that. It's better when it's coming from other people. You know what I'm saying? I don't brag on myself with my son. I'm dad. I'm not Uncle Luke. I'm not Luke Skywalker. I'm not none of them guys. I'm dad. And that is it, And so he would have to do his own research, but he got to be able to sit there and listen to people. That was the most important moment in the whole in the whole thing, and probably in my life, because he got to be able to sit there, not at a fucking funeral, hear people talk, and how people have the respect for his dad and how impressionable his dad was to him. And I know like one person who was not there, and he sent me a text, Pitbull, who would have been there. He said, no, I got to do this concert at the Hard Rock, and then I got to go do this conference and that's like that's my other nephew in California. And then I get a call from Alberto Caballo the next day, former superintendent of schools here in Miami-Dade County, but now superintendent of school in California. And he said, Luke, man, I didn't know. I'm like, you didn't know what? He said, man, Pitbull came here to a conference, and all he did was speak about you, how you saved his life. you know, and the things that he said about you, I just didn't know. I know you for damn that 10, 15 years, but I ain't know all these things. And so, you know, it was like I say, it was an amazing moment. And I'm gonna share some of the things throughout this podcast with you guys that went on. But for my child to be able to see that, you know, I wish my other kids would have been able to sit there and see it, but obviously I'm pretty sure they had some other things to do. But my nieces and nephews, my great nieces and nephews and all of them were out there, and they got to see it. They got to hear who their uncle was all about, and I'm still living. And we still writing more chapters in this book because the work don't stop. The work don't stop. Trust me, it continues on. We got to continue saving more lives as we go every day. And we got to keep, you know, setting new standards and new boundaries and being the person that I am. And that's all it is until it's over. I got to be that. I got to be a good dad. I got to be a good community servant. I got to be a good person. You know, I got to be all that and some. And so that's how I kind of live my life. But, you know, I just want to share some things because what really bothered me was the fact that I did go into it with a purpose of telling my story, you know, telling not my story, but my family story, because it's not really about me. It's about all the people around me. And I didn't get to do it because I kind of got derailed by just thanking everybody for being there. And then I'm humble. I don't want to hold y'all whole damn day up while I'm sitting there talking, you know, and holding y'all up. So I didn't get to say it, but then I'm going to say it to you all. And hopefully some of those people, what I wanted to share, hopefully some of those people the people who did come there, they could hear what I really wanted to say on stage, but I got caught up in thanking so many people because that's just me. Thanking so many people for doing the things that they did. And I thank the mayor. I thank the commissioners who put this bill through and passed it and all that. And the words that they said about me being able to get the street, because you just don't get a street like, oh, Luther Campbell, I want to get a street. No, it has to go through layers. You don't get, you know, it's not like the Hollywood Walk of Fame or the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame where it's all political and you just got to go and know somebody that knows somebody. No. This thing has to be voted on by the entire commission. People who you don't know have to read and understand your story in order to give you the vote and give the vote to be able to say, yeah, we can get this done. So my shots go out to the entire City of Miami Commission, you know, the mayor who spearheaded this, Francis Suarez, Christina King and her staff, who put the bill before the commission, and the bill passed it unanimously, and Keon Hardeman, who put the bill, you know, who represents our area, and who put the bill in the county, and the county commissioners, the mayor, everybody overwhelmingly passed it. No questions asked. Oh no, this is a no-brainer. And the beautiful thing that some of the commissioners had to say about me, which was epic, again, in more ways than one. You know, I know a lot of them couldn't make it there, but they already said enough. And like I say, man, some of the things I wanted to say, man, I'll say it right here. You know, my journey, again, it wasn't about me. You know, it really wasn't about me. It was about my mom and my dad. You know, and to be able to get a street named after you on the block in which you were raised, the house that you were raised in, the street that you was raised in. People don't know these stories because obviously my story has not been told on a wide range. Hopefully a large part of my story will be told in the next coming years with the projects that we have. But listen, man, on that block, I mean, that shit means more. It means more than you could ever imagine. You know, it's deep because my parents are from Overtown. My mom is from Overtown. My dad is from Jamaica. My mom family is from the Bahamas, and they moved us there to where my street name is. Shit, in the early '60s, right before I was born. And the story that people don't know, my parents were one of the first people to move into Liberty City. When my dad moved into the house where my street name is, my dad was, named Campbell, and he bought the house through the bank. And he didn't do a regular closing where you would see the other people and the people would say, okay, yeah, you go do the house visit and all that. He rode by the house, and he saw that he wanted that house for more ways than one. He wanted to live and move us into that neighborhood because we were living in the blues. People don't really know that. Caledonia. We were living, my family, I come from a big family, 4 brothers. I'm the 5th one. I guess that's why I act the way I act. And we moved into this 2-bedroom house in Liberty City where there was no black people. And when my dad got the key to the house, the white man was like, yo, if I knew it was a black man I was selling this house to, I wouldn't have sold this house to. And my dad, the proud Jamaican that he is, well, you done sold it. I done bought it and you can get the fuck out. That's how my dad talked to him. I wasn't old enough to know this, but then my dad and my mom would tell me the story. The white man said to my dad, hey, look here, how you can afford to live here? Because black people, they live over there, which he referred to what you all, he referred to as Scott Projects, and he referred to it as the pork and beans. And that's when I learned what that meant. My parents told me, and my dad was like, what you mean pork? What would you mean pork and beans? He didn't say Liberty Square Housing Project. He said the pork and beans. And my dad was like, what is the pork and beans? Right? To this arrogant white man who had a problem with it. And he said, all them people over there, you supposed to be living over there with them people, they could only afford pork and beans. That's why older people right now, when people say the pork and beans or the beans or whatever they want to call it, older people have a real problem with that because the white people who lived in that neighborhood where we bought a house in Liberty City, that's what they referred to black people because it was a big-ass wall. It was a projects. And all black people lived in there, and they always, I guess that was their thing, pork and beans. They called it the pork and beans. Only thing that they can afford is pork and beans in there. And they was living on governmental assistance. Well, my dad said, well, I'm here, I'm going to change that. And so more black folks start integrating Liberty City. That's why it's so amazing right now that Liberty City is getting reintegrated by whites and Hispanics. My parents were one of the first to move there. And so with that historical significance, it shaped me to be who I am, to be the fighter that I am. And so now, mind you, going through this, now we live in there, place getting more integrated, more blacks coming in. I'm growing older, Now, I, pick up a little trade. I like to DJ. I like to make music. So I started DJing with this little stereo in the house, making mixtapes for my homeboys who live next door, the Jamaican guys. My Jamaican friends, that's why today I don't eat pork right now, because these were straight real Rastas. And so I kind of grew up hanging out with them dudes, because all my brothers by then went to college and everything. So I just started hanging out with these Rastas, but they would never let me get into the deep part of what they were doing because they were real notorious gangsters. Them dudes were real tough guys. But then they taught me to hustle, which all my parents taught me how to hustle. And so I learned so much out of this house on that block and how I'm going to shape the beat. So I'm hanging out with the Rastas, making tapes for them. They give me money. Then I got my little DJ stuff. I'm selling frozen cups to the kids in the community. I find me a Pac-Man machine. I get the Pac-Man machine. I put that in there in a little wash house. Got a little wash house this big. And kids coming over and I'm playing the music. So I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing, but I got a little hustle going on. Then my other friends call up and say, man, we got a little DJ group. We got two speakers. We can grow bigger, ghetto style DJs. Then I joined this group. So mind you, everything is happening out of this house that I grew up in. My mom and dad, listen, man, if it weren't for my mom and dad, I'm not who I am. And that's why everybody, you have to be good parents to your kids. Some people who listen to this podcast may be fans of their kids. Don't be a fan, be a parent. Because my parents, they taught me rough. They were real parents. You got your ass whooped, which I know right now today you'll go to jail if that happened. But you got grounded, you got everything, you know what I'm saying? They taught me who to be and how to be the person that I am today. And so out that little house on that block, I didn't go fast forward to doing big parties at Atapata, then at the park, African Square Park, doing the parties there. Building up, we get 2 speakers, 4 speakers, 16 speakers. Now we're at Carroll City Senior High, and we're doing big dances. Then we go and get the skate ring and call that the Pac Jam. Now we skate ring on Sunday in the park, on Saturday at Carroll City Gym, and on Friday at Atapata Junior High. And I mean, shit getting bigger and bigger. Now we're bringing out hip hop artists that never came to Miami in their life. You know, now I'm bringing these dudes down. They're doing shows and stuff. And then I end up bringing down 2 Live Crew, and I'm still staying in that little house. Mind you, mom and dad, 2 bedrooms, mom, dad, 5 brothers. As it went on, the brothers were leaving. They were leaving, but then I'm still there, trying to find my way, doing what I got to do. Now I go and start doing records. 2 Live Crew. First record, Throw the D. Nobody wanted to sign them. There was no such thing as hip-hop in the South. I'm interning at the radio station with Jerry Russian and Leo and Stereo and all these George Boogie Jones, and I'm learning the business at the radio station. I'm in the Jerry Jarvis record pool. Now I'm the big DJ in town, and I'm just learning as I go. 2 Live Crew comes, and we having the same problem that everybody else, which you heard the stories of NWA. They were all on this record label distribution company called Malaco Records, and all these guys, and they didn't know. Next thing you know, I'm signing these dudes. I'm not signing these dudes up. I'm just helping them, put a record out. And everybody told me no. Still in this little house, trying to find my way out, because every brother went to college and got the fuck out. But I got to get out. So eventually I end up making enough money DJing, I'll get me a little apartment. I got to get out, because my mom and dad were all there. Look, motherfucker, you got to leave here. You got 1 year after you get 18 to get the fuck out of here. You're going to either go to military, college, or you're going to do something with your life. And that is what I knew. So I got to find my way out. Mind you, now can I use this shed? I'm going to put a shed back here. I started putting the records back there. I got to put these records out on the 2 Live Crew because nobody wanted them. What the fuck are you doing? You got records? You doing the records? I'm like, yeah, because everybody said no, and I believe in this group. Not knowing, took all my little money I made DJing. They ain't got no money. They're in the military. They got to go back and forth to California. I'm taking my money, putting it into this fucking record that I have no idea about how to promote or do. And I just use what I learned at that little house with my Jamaican friends living next door, with my ideal of selling frozen cups, Pac-Man machine, DJing, doing the parties, getting people at the parties. I'm going to just apply all this to then promote this record. I'm going to use the same shit. And now I then go do these records. So I go do these 2 Live Crew records. Now I got to store this shit. So mind you, now I'm storing it. Now the records start blowing up. I'm manufacturing this stuff myself. I'm going to the pressing plant and manufacturing this shit. This little motherfucker from this street here don't know nothing about this, but I'm learning as I go. You see what I'm saying? But I'm doing it all out of this little house, the mom and dad house on 58th and 11th. So all this shit started right there. So I say all this to say this. I want people, you know, that's why it's so amazing. I want people, when they go down that street and they look, because at the end of the day, all of us, at some point, we're going to leave here. We're going to leave here. I want people to be able to go and look on that street corner and look at the sign 100 years from now. Who the fuck is Luther Campbell? That's how deep it is for me. Why is his name on this block? This is the block he came from, that house he came from, right there. Whether they put condominiums or whatever the fuck they may put up in there, you know, and that's how the world works. How did he do what he did? Okay, he went from selling records out of the trunk of his car out this fucking shed of his house. This dude created Southern hip-hop when there was no such thing as Southern hip-hop. Turned down constantly. Told no, that it won't happen. Out of this little house on this fucking block. So when a person like Scarface say, man, this is what you mean this much to us, it all started right there. That's ground zero. You know what I'm saying? That is ground fucking zero. And so these are some of the things I wanted to share, you know, I mean, my mom and dad, the stories of them, you know, me growing up in this community and shaping and molding the person that I am. You know, I remember big trucks used to come to the back of our house, yellow freight, this freight, and I would roll the records up from out of the little shed that I built in the back of my mom and them house and put them on the fucking trucks to be distributed all over the United States of America because I did not trust the pressing plants. At that time, the pressing plants, they all said they had a back door and they would sell, you know, you let the pressing plant, they won't sell your shit, they'll be selling it for you. So I would go get the records from the pressing plant, bring them to the little shed in my mom and them yard and put the motherfuckers on a big truck. Then the police is sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? You selling drugs? Because every black man at that time was supposed to be a drug dealer. I remember getting ran down by the police. Police swarming the house, looking through the boxes. What the fuck is in here? What are you shipping? You shipping cocaine? You shipping marijuana? And them raiding the house, not the house, but the boxes, looking to see what the fuck is in these boxes. Out that little house on that block, where all this shit started. So then now fast forward, now we doing this music, and we doing this music, and I got all these successful brothers and all these different things, and then now here we go. We go from that to now being the talk of the country. You're on Phil Donahue show, you're controversy. You set out to do this, and you're this misogynistic pig. And we were just young guys just doing music. So I want people to be able to go back to that block and say, this dude rode a bus. And the little story behind the bus. Think about it. Little kid on that block. Integration is happening in Miami-Dade County school system. Now they're taking us. A bus comes in the backyard of my house. That same block where that sign is. And they integrated us. They put us on a fucking bus and took us to Miami Beach, South Beach, what y'all call it right now. They took us and put us on a bus, and they told us we had to be off the beach before 6 o'clock. Because if you were on that beach, you were going to go to jail. If you were on the beach after 6 o'clock, you go to jail if you're black. On that same block, that bus picked us up, took us over there, and dropped us off. So now you're over there all day. Now it becomes, okay, all right, we got to play sports. So you got to be a part of these activities, and that's how I ended up getting in football and baseball. playing sports on Flamingo Park. Nora Optimus. Now you're over there playing sports and you still got to get back before 6 o'clock. You got to be off that motherfucker. Other than that, you're going to jail. Drop back off to that block. All these things shaped who I am and who we are today, and the things that, you know, we went on to fight for and try to accomplish. And now you're in this music business and you're getting criticized. You're getting told that you're all these things that you're not. You just took some comedy records, some Dolomites, some Leroy Skillett, some Honey Esters, and you put it on the record. And you said you didn't want to be like everybody else. You wanted to be different. You want to be from Miami. You want to say this stuff on the records. And before you know it, you're the Antichrist and everything else. Little kid from that block. But then the fight became something totally different. It became a free speech. Whether or not freedom of speech applies to black people. That's why I took the fight on. It was like, how the fuck does Andrew Dice Clay get to say this shit? How does all these comedians get to say this? How do Ozzy Osbourne get to say the shit that he's doing and saying what he's doing and doing the shit he's doing on stage? All these rock and rollers. Fuck that. It should apply to us too. Because again, the same in that little house on 11th Avenue, the teachings were coming from my dad. And understanding black history, understanding how to read the newspaper, understanding how to look at the news, understanding the propaganda within the newspaper and the news and how it works. At that little house. Prepared me for the world. All that shit prepared me for who I am today. People hear me talk about politics. Man, I've been deep into politics before I got into music, before I got into sports, because in my house, we talked about politics. And if you know anything about Jamaicans and Bahamians, they talk politics and they're well aware and well abreast. That's why we vote at damn near 1,000%, because we know politics run the world. And so me being involved in politics like I am on a regular basis, that's easy. And knowing the world and how the world works put me in a position where I was the right guy to fuck with. I was the right guy to fight these fights for hip-hop out of that little house on 11th Avenue when you ride by that street. And these are the stories that I want people to know. When I'm out of here and going, and when they ride down Luther Campbell Way, that who the fuck is this dude? Look this shit up. Wikipedia and ChatGPT is not going to be able to tell you the true story. The true story is just a young motherfucker ain't know where the fuck he was going, what direction he was going. He got probably arguably one of the biggest gangs in Miami doing, more, not gangs that taking advantage of people or robbing people, but gangs where people almost like some Robin Hood shit. If you got beat up by a gang member, you then got to be a part of our DJ group. And we hopefully inspired you to do great things and protect you from other people. Because if somebody was to fuck with one of the guys with our group, then yeah. Call us what you want, but we were Robin Hood. I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but I'm trying to give it to y'all without taking too much of your time. It's deep when it comes to that block and that street and that person on that sign. Now I got to take on the United States government. I got to take on the Vice President of the United States. Dan Quayle, before getting on Air Force 2, is on the tarmac talking about this guy named Luther Campbell from that house on 11th Avenue, and that he's the worst thing in the world. I got to sit there and get letters from fucking senators, John McCain, talking about we need you at a Senate subcommittee hearing because you're corrupting the minds of young people. And then I say, fuck you, I'm not coming there. I got Governor Martinez coming after me, the governor of the state of Florida. And I'm like, why is all this happening? I'm getting sued left and right because I'm just a little kid selling records out of the back seat of my car, and now I'm making money and I'm doing things, and I got the Two Live Crew in H-Town and Anquet and Poison Clan, and I saw JT Money, shots out to you. Thank you for being there. So now I'm helping everybody in my community who looks like me, who came up like me. Every one of my artists are like me. All of them. Majority of my artists are like me. I have to be able to relate to them. Pitbull. How do you relate to Pitbull? My artist. I have to relate to them because I was that same kid on the streets, not knowing what direction I was going in. Being motivated and inspired to the point where my parents took and sent my ass to D.C. because they know I was either going to be dead or in jail. And I went to D.C. and shots out to people in D.C. I got inspired by them black people doing big things. And I got sent, when I sent home and I was ready to come back, that's when I got motivated to being a business person. Trick Daddy is me. Pitbull is me. Trick Daddy, I'm the same guy who went to jail 1,000 times. People don't know these stories. They don't talk about these stories. When I look at him, he's me. I can relate to him. I can relate to what he was going through when he was in jail, going in and out. I can relate to Pitbull when he was on the streets hustling. I can relate to JT Money when he was a tough guy in the streets. All those guys are splitting image of myself. And I know one thing that I wanted was somebody to tell me how great I was. And somebody to tell me that they love me. Even though I got love from my family and my mom and all that, this tough household, but from the outside, other people from your family saying, you're great. You got a gift. God gave you a gift, and this is what your gift is. You don't have to do the things that you're doing out there to be great. Apply that same shit and apply it to you, and that's what made me be able to inspire people like the Pitbulls and the Trick Daddies, JT Moneys, H-Towns of the world. Same kids in a house similar to mine, about five siblings, mom and dad, in the hood of Houston, eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches, spice ham, some cans and rocks, holding up the fucking seats. I was that. They weren't in the streets hustling, tough guy, but I was living the same way they was living, 5 people in a 2-bedroom house. You had to do what you had to do. You had to fight for the food and all that shit. And there were plenty of nights where you had to come home to a goddamn bologna sandwich in that house that's on that block. So I can relate to these good folks and be able to inspire them to be great and to tap into what they do great. And then when you look at the football players, Devontae Freeman, he comes out there and he says some beautiful words. These are the people that I can relate to. And these are some of the things that I wanted to say, but it would have took too much of their time. Now you're going into being this guy, you know, co-founder of the Optimist program, taking the platform and using the platform to better, you know, supporting and endorsing political candidates who are going to do the right thing for your community and not let your community get robbed. Inspiring others like the Scarfaces and all these people of the world. Selling millions of records, going around the country performing for millions of people on a yearly basis. All this guy out that house on 11th Avenue. By that mom and dad, and that dad who integrated those white folks' neighborhood. And had to go through the bullshit that they had to go through because they lived around nothing but white people. But then eventually the community got integrated. So I only know about fighting. My story is the only thing about fighting. And that is what I want people to know. When they ride down the street, I want people to look up there and say, this man fought for us. He fought for our free speech. This man created Southern hip hop when everybody told him no. And we look at all the artists from the South and everywhere else, and their livelihood has changed because of this. Created a genre of music, whether it's dance, twerking, booty shaking, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Being able to say and express yourself in the way you want to express yourself. No matter who the fuck likes it or not. That's what this man stood for. Being able to own and operate his own company when people told him no. Inspire others to want to own their companies. A lot of them won't say it. Most of them will. That's why I love talking to Jay-Z. He'll tell you. Ask him. Go look up some of his interviews. Biggie Smalls and all these people, to be able to do records with. Big Pun, Fat Joe and all them. See a little young DJ Khaled. Same thing. Hustling everything that he can get. That's why I love when these people show up and I'm looking at all them Big Teach. You came from New York. The guy who was helping, the guy who was, inspired him to come move to Miami, died. He taught him to promote. Big Teach, you come into the company. I got you, boss. Teach you how to promote. Teach ends up being an A&R for Pitbull. Jeff Sanchez, who now is a big wig at the NBA, who worked in that office right next to Teach in a little cubicle at Luke Records, while we got this young guy, Pitbull, trying to figure out what we're going to do with him. Trick Daddy living in the condo with me. H-Town going to their house because Low White told me to go over there and these guys could sing. You name it. JT Money, Poison Clan out of Northern High School. Put them out. My little niece, Anquette, they cousin. And to be able to do this coming out of this little fucking house is amazing. And now you in court fighting for free speech or going all the way to the Supreme Court because you're getting sued by Roy Orbison because you did a parody. And now the question is whether parodies are protected by the First Amendment and everything that you're doing on the internet right now today when it comes to intellectual property is because of me fighting that case. I wasn't going to jail. My record got banned. This little motherfucker coming out this house on 11. I want people to, when they ride by, okay, what did this nigga do? Who the fuck is this motherfucker here? I got a record banned. Nastiest Wannabe was banned by federal judge Gonzalez in Broward County. I ride by that fucking courthouse a lot right now to this day. My son was going to a school right down the street. I had to ride by the fucking courthouse where I spent millions of dollars fighting for the rights of people to be able to say the shit that they're saying right now on records. To be able to dance, to be able to express themselves the way that they're able to express themselves right now. That's this look. That's when they see that sign and say, "Who the fuck is this dude here?" This ain't about no music. This ain't about no one song. It's deeper than rap, as we all say. I had 3 cases going on at one time. I had whether parody was protected by the First Amendment. I lose that case. What you see on Saturday Night Live and satire and all these things, they couldn't do it. If I just say, fuck it, that would have been on the books. What people don't realize, with this case law, that's the law, that's case law. They use that against you in a case. Now I got a goddamn record was banned by a federal judge, Gonzalez, who was appointed by a goddamn Democratic judge. I got this shit going on. The record was banned. I wasn't going to jail. Leave this motherfucker banned. I'm not finna spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight this case. I could have left the motherfucking band. And the record, every bit of that record would have been worth $1 million if you purchased it. That's why it sickens me every day when this dude Weinberger is profiting off of our music, and thank God, because there is a God, that we were able to get our music back after 30 years. Because of what? Because of politics. Because of Congress passing a law that you can get your property back. So now I got these 3 cases. I got to go appeal the case of whether of this NASA's want to be, because if I leave that on the books, hear me closely, hear me clearly. So when you ride by that motherfucking street, or any rapper that may be listening to this, and you're being able to say and do the shit that you're doing on your records, when you ride by that motherfucking street, I could have left that on the books. Because NASA's they want to be cussing and doing all that on the record, saying this and doing that, the videos, all that shit was banned. So you wouldn't have, if you leave it on the books, it would have been precedent. When you go into the courtroom, when you go into any courtroom, and when they want to sue you or put you in jail, or say this is new law. New law is created by the cases. That's why they say, when your lawyer go in there and say, well, the case George versus the state of Florida, and George versus the state of Florida, the judge ruled in this case that this is illegal. They use that case law against you. That's the part people don't understand. And they say, okay, well, that sets precedent. So in that case, yeah, okay, you got any case law to say anything different than what he just cited? So I'm going to go with what the judge ruled in that case. Luther Campbell versus the state of Florida, the federal government, in a federal case that this record, NASA want to be, is obscene. Now, Gorilla goes out and put her fucking record out, or Lil Wayne go put his record out, and he's talking about slap that ass and getting shot by the lady cop, fucking this motherfucker, doing this, doing that, and all this here. I'm gonna shake my ass on the video. No! Any municipality, any federal government entity can then say, no, case law states that you can't say that kind of shit on a record. Because Luther Campbell versus the federal government in the state of Florida states that this is on the books, so technically you can't do it. Any prosecutor used that against you because it's now law. But I got to go in there, the guy who's being talked about by Salt and Pepper, being talked about in shots. I love them. Kid and Play and every television network and every guy and all these places that he's the Antichrist, worst shit in the world and all that. I got to go in there alone with my fucking money that I could have right now. Got a couple of dollars, but I wish I had that motherfucking money back. I got to go in there and get this motherfucker overturned because I know, because of the teachings in that house on 11th Avenue, where my goddamn street name, I know I got to go and get this shit overturned, because if I don't get it overturned, people coming behind me will not be able to sing and express themselves on music, on records, or anything like that in life. I got to get this shit overturned. I'm going to go fight for everybody behind me. It's not about me. I can leave the record. I've seen my lawyer say, man, look, there's no record ever been deemed obscene by a federal judge in the history. You've just made history. If you leave this motherfucker like it is, this is what's going to happen. Anybody after you is going to get fucked up. You're not going to be able to make the same type of music anymore, too. But at the same time, this record will be worth so much money because you will be selling this bitch on the black market for damn near $1,000 a goddamn record. People trying to buy it on the black market because it won't be able to be sold in the record store, because once they deemed it obscene, they start putting people in jail. They put freedmen in jail and in the record stores all across the country. They start locking motherfuckers up for this record that was already deemed obscene by a federal judge. Come on, man. When you ride by that motherfucking street, that's what you're going to see. This guy was fighting for Southern hip-hop when it wasn't. Going to seminars in New York, and people saying we were fad and this shit would never happen. And I'm standing up there cussing them out, saying, no, motherfucker, the South will rule. And before you know it, y'all going to be trying to sound like us. That's that little motherfucker. When you read that sign, when you go down that block. So the record gets deemed obscene. I didn't say, fuck it. I'm going to go right down the street from the courthouse and do a concert. And we end up going to jail. So now that's case number 3. So you got a case going to the Supreme Court for free speech, and whether parody is protected by the First Amendment, you're appealing the federal judge ruling that Nasty Is Gonna Be was an obscene album. Now you're getting ready to go to jail because you defied the court order and you went and sung this motherfucking song. So now your ass is in state court, getting ready to go to jail. Fuck it, I'm ready to do it. So when they look at that motherfucking sign, this ain't no just, okay, we going down the street and look at some motherfucker who did some songs. I want them to be able to ride down there 100 years from now. That's what you get. So on top of that, now that you're successful, now that you're fighting these fights, now you got these people coming into your business stealing, in my opinion, trying to rob the rich history of the company because they ain't got no fucking talent. And you still continuously move on in life. And you're going through the ups and downs and trials and tribulation of a young black man in this country. The fights, whether it's with the personal shit and the out shit and the jealousy and all this, and you got to keep your fucking sanity because it all comes back to that little house on that block. And so I want people to be able to ride down the street, and I know many people have many stories. That's why I was overwhelmed and I couldn't even tell my story about how many people have their own stories of their impression of me and what we all went through. And it ain't about me. It's about everybody around me. It's about Bruce Rogo. It's about Jeff and Teach and them guys who worked in there. It's about Mike Gardner. It's about Shane. It's about Nikki. It's about Razor. It's about Ron May. It's about Dwight Jackson, his stories. It's about Miss Yolanda, Mr. Meekers, the kids on the park, Freedmen and all of them, how they inspire other people. It's about all of the people who shape and make me who I am today. I'm just a vessel of what God put on this earth and my parents raised. And so I say all this to say this. I mean, people wonder why. How do you they do these documentaries, what is the you? How you got involved with the University of Miami? I got involved with the University of Miami. The same motherfucker, when you ride down, if you just want to know about the University of Miami, and you see that sign, he was instrumental in the University of Miami and their success. Tell the fucking story the right way. Guys were on the fucking campus in another city in Miami called Gables, where black people weren't allowed and didn't want to have no black people live in. And young people out there now, black people, that's now, after Howard Stellenberg get beat by Florida A&M, and now he wants to bring these black kids down there, and I'm seeing them, they go down there, they doing all kind of crazy shit, and you seeing it on the news because the propaganda machine's getting there at Howard Stellenberg because he's bringing them black kids to Coral Gables, where they wasn't wanted. The community did not want them there. And so the propaganda machine, which is the news And the newspaper is saying why he's so bad in bringing them down there. And then me, now I'm a successful person, and they're looking up to me as this big time rapper. I'm Jay-Z right now. Y'all boys come here, man. Let me holler at y'all, man. Let me explain to y'all. You coming from all over the place. These motherfuckers don't want y'all here. Don't give these motherfuckers what they want. Get you a good education out of this shit, and if you're lucky, you can go to the NFL. Use this. Don't give them what they want, because y'all gonna do just what I did with the music business. Y'all gonna fuck it up for everybody behind y'all, and y'all gonna give these motherfuckers what they want, because they say we animals and we niggers and we everything in the world. Don't give them what they want. If you motherfuckers need anything, come see me. That's how I got involved in the University of Miami. And let me tell you about the football part of it. We get our ass whooped every day. We're the outcasts. Nobody likes us. That's where the swag came from. So when you go out there and whoop these motherfuckers' ass, they're going to talk about you bad on the TV, but whoop their ass and do it your way. Do it the same way I did it. So when they read this, you can go, hey, you're a law student. There's not a day go by, I'll go meet a law student that has not read some of my cases. Hey, I read your case. My God. I'm in constitutional law. Your case is epic. Yeah. So when you ride by, if you're a law student, you ride by that block and you see that sign, you're a law student, inspire you this way. If you're in the University of Miami Sports, inspire you in this way. If you want to know the history of Southern hip hop, and it inspires you in that way. The streets inspires people in so many different ways. It's bigger than me. The block is bigger than me. And who had to remind me of that? Fucking Scarface. Like, this shit bigger than rap, bro. This shit has touched so many lives. These are the things I wanted to say to you guys. Shouts out to my parents, because my mom and dad, wasn't for them, again, I wouldn't be who I am, what I am today. I'm just humble and grateful. I'll share with y'all some of these things. Here's a replica of the street. There it is. If you wasn't there and you probably have not got there, when you come to Miami, make that one of your stops. Do your own history. I got some gifts. My man Teach got this done for me right here. Creation of Southern hip hop. I love that. Creator. My block there. Got my glasses on there. Big Teach. House of Mac. My good friend. My nephew was working on this for God knows how long. He was working on this big picture. I don't know if y'all can see the whole thing. Because the story with him, me telling him, me and Tupac's story, I gotta find where I'm gonna put that up in the house. He always wanted to know the story between that picture there and why me and Tupac were so good of friends. And he saw Tupac with the Luke bandana on, and why, like Ray Lewis and Warren Sapp and everybody and all them. And he wanted to know why me and Tupac how did we become so good of friends? And I told him the story of when he was with Digital Underground, and he just was at awe with me. Most of the guys just wanted to know what the fuck I was doing, how I was doing it, and Pac wasn't Tupac then. He was just Pac. And we would sit there and after the concerts, just sit there, vibe in the hotel, talk about history, his parents' affiliation with the Panthers, and him as a black man, and all these different things. And when I told him again, young fella, you're gonna be all right. Don't let nobody tell you you cannot achieve the goals that you want to achieve. It's no different than Jay-Z. Jay-Z was one of the guys, just like Pac, hanging around with Digital Underground. Jay-Z was the same guy hanging around with Big. He was the guy hanging out with Big. He was one of the guys in the back of the crew. And I always looked at him, and I always find the guys in the back of the crew that I had the conversations with. Same thing with Jay. Y'all see this infamous video, the Peep Show video that I did, and Jay sitting there and the girls is there, and Jay just had a little record out. He wasn't Jay-Z then. I just was shooting him a solid by having him on this show that was so popular. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love him so much right now today, because again, he's a reflection of all of us. We came from something. So when I look at Jay doing what Jay doing, ain't nobody can tell me shit about Jay and who Jay is. He's still the same guy that he always been. Still the same guy that was with Big them, waiting his turn. He waited his fucking turn. Tupac waited his fucking turn. JT Money waited his turn. Trick Daddy waited his turn. Pitbull waited his turn because they believed in who they were. Rick Ross waited his fucking turn. Rick Ross, I got his first record at the flea market. He gave me his record at his CD. He waited his turn. Flow Rider waited his turn. You look at one of the videos, you see a baby in the back seat of the car. That was Flow Rider, the baby in the back seat of the car. He waited his turn. He was so good at friends. Fresh Kid Ice, took him in. That was his guy. God bless his soul. All these guys waited their turn. That shit didn't happen overnight for them. And that's why they could stand the test of time, because they went up the ladder one brick at a time. And that's why they're able to reinvent themselves, because they wasn't just given something. And that's why I tell people all the time, everything is earned, not given. You can't appreciate shit when somebody just give it to you. You got to earn it. I tell my son right now today, you got all this beautiful shit here, but you got to earn it. You love playing baseball, you got to earn it. You got to put the work in. We all have to put the work into everything that we do, people. Nothing is given, everything is earned. Same thing with me. When you ride down that street, on one thing you know, it's all earned. This shit is earned. It wasn't given. Earned. Nothing given. I want to thank y'all for sitting there, sharing my moment with you all. There was some other things I was going to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about it. So I'm going to leave this particular podcast for this. Hopefully y'all heard a little bit of my story. And hopefully some of my story can inspire you. Because again, like I said, I was that kid walking down the street, kicking cans, selling bottles, cleaning up at beauty salons and shit, not knowing where I was going to go at. I looked at planes fly across my house all the time and say I would never be able to afford to get on one of those planes. But then, if I ever say can't in my household, that was an ass whooping. Don't let your kids hear can't. Don't let your kids, don't even take that out of their dictionary, because you can. You can achieve whatever the fuck you want to achieve in this life. Don't look at what's going on in the world today. Don't look at the things that's happening. Don't look at where you at right now, because if you put the work in, you could achieve whatever the fuck you want to achieve. Anybody and everybody that I came around, including myself, we came from nothing. But we believed in ourselves and we put the work in. We never asked for nothing. put the work in, you'll achieve whatever goals you want to achieve. Until the next time, people, I'm going to get back on schedule. I'm going to share some of these great stories with you all.
It's not called Luther Campbell Street. It's called Luther Campbell Way. And the reason why it's called Luther Campbell Way is because we want to recognize the way that Luther Campbell impacted our community. He's never asked me for anything for himself, not once. It's always about the kids. Because again, he always wants what's best. These streets already belong to Luther Campbell. This neighborhood already belongs to Luther Campbell. This city already belongs to Luther Campbell. He's always looked out for me. He's always set the example for me. He's always protected me. He's like a big brother to me. Thank you, my brother.
That was a great one from the mayor. Here's what Gil Green put together.
Called Luther Campbell Street. It's called Luther Campbell Way.
Technical difficulties.
I was one of those interns working out of his office, riding around in the Luke vans, getting people registered to vote.
So I look as Luke as the father of Miami. But Luke, I just want to say I love you and I appreciate you and I'm grateful for you. I'm happy for you. Be proud. Luke Campbell Way, Liberty City, Dade County, 305. Make some noise for Uncle Luke.
Everybody that's out here, they're out here because we all got something in common. And what we have in common is we help. We help kids like this. Gil Green helps and inspire. DJ Epps helps and inspire. Devontae Friedman helps and inspire. DJ Khaled helps tremendously inspire. My good friend Stan the Man over there helped. E-Class, who was here, helps and inspire. These guys do a lot of things that you all don't even know. I mean, teach, owns a restaurant, helps and inspire. I mean, that is what it's all about.
I'll leave y'all with that photo right there. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, I love you all. Stay inspired. I'll be back Friday at your regular scheduled time. I love y'all. Peace. Thank you for being there.
Make the booty go.
Make the booty go, 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 pop, pop, make the booty go, pop, pop.
I need some bad girls. I'm gonna let y'all hear my new song. I need some bad girls. Come on, baby. Come on, right here. You and you. Come on with that, your fine ass.